Thanks so much for joining me today. We are going to dive into the conversation in a moment. First, I wanted to remind you that the show notes and links mentioned on this podcast are on my website at lizasivekmarketing.com. That's Liza with a Z and Civic with an S. So, okay, let's get started.
Hello, magicians. Liza here, back to talk to you about more exciting things in the world of marketing. And we've got some really great marketing magic that is also beauty magic. And, I love all girly things, so I'm all about this. But it won't be a girly conversation, guys. Don't turn off now. Don't you touch that dial. Okay. So our phone, smartphone, whatever. So today I have Lynn Power from Masami, which is a wonderful hair care product line, I guess we would say it. We're going to let her explain it. And I really love what she's doing, how she got where she is, and what they're doing with their company. I'm very impressed by this. And she's had some great, she just brought her dog in. You can't see her here. She just brought her dog in. So, all right, everybody stop so I can just adore the dog.
He
Mine's
looks
just going
cute,
nuts
but
outside because
he's really stinky, but he looks so cute, doesn't he?
they're like dog, yes. We just gave ours baths, so we get like 2 days of that before they figure out there's something dead to go roll in. So there you go. We balanced out the girly right away. Look at that. So talking about something dead. So we have lots to talk about. So let's just jump right into that. So how did you come to start this business, and where'd you come from to end up here in the hair care vertical?
Yeah, that's thank you so much for that lovely intro, by the way. And it's so great to be here on a nice sunny day. And I love how your theme is all around magic. It's so awesome because we could have so much fun just talking about that on so many levels. But yes, we're here to talk about magic in your hair. And men love us, by the way. So another reason for the guys not to tune out. 40% of our customers are men. They need it too. And by the way, a lot of guys don't understand the importance of upgrading your hair care routine. So once they start to figure out what we know as chicks, then they start to realize that, oh my God, I've been missing out. So
guys,
stop
you want to understand women?
10-in-1 products, men. Yeah. You do not want to use the 10-in-1 products anymore. You need to actually get real stuff. So,
yeah,
but
I think that's a big thing. Yes, yes. Don't think that you don't need, not that you have to have, thousands of products, one for everything, but it's nice to be able to take care of yourself, take care of your hair, no matter whether you're a man or woman. And everybody has issues. Hair is hair. Unless, there's a guy that doesn't have any, but that's okay because either does my husband and I like that look too. But we're going to talk about this today, and tell me how you came to the beauty industry. Was this something you had always wanted to do? Did you start in it?
Yeah, I know I didn't answer your question the first time you asked it. I'm sorry, but I will.
Sorry, I got way off. So you can.
Yeah, no, I will answer
it. We'll edit it together. It's fine.
Yeah. So I spent my 30-year career in advertising, and I was working in a lot of large agencies, and I worked on a lot of beauty accounts over the years. So anyone who's watched Mad Men will recognize the names of the agencies that I was at, because I was at BBDO and McCann, and then I was the CEO of J. Walter Thompson, New York. So those are all like agencies that have been around forever, Ogilvy and Mather. So I worked on so many beauty brands over the years, and I found myself gravitating back to it. And I really just loved working in beauty because it's this great blend of like left brain and right brain, because you're really balancing out like this rational underpinning for an emotional purchase, right? Because beauty really is about this emotional purchase. And anyway, but I had kind of maxed out my sort of learning curve in advertising in 2018. I was just feeling really unfulfilled because once you get to be the top person, it's not so fun. People don't tell you that. You're dealing with a lot of HR issues and administrative issues, and you're having finance meetings every day. And okay, unless you're in finance and you enjoy that stuff, which I'm not, it's not so fun. So I decided to leave the corporate world and to try to like build my own business instead of doing it for someone else. And it was one of those things where I actually started doing consulting with startups, and I was really enjoying being very hands-on and helping them with their business. But then I met my co-founder, James. Like, the universe just sort of sometimes presents you with opportunities and you have to say yes. You don't have a choice.
You have to be ready to go. Yeah.
You just have to embrace it. And that's what happened. So James had been working on these hair care formulations for over 10 years. It's really hard to do clean hair care because when you take out the sulfates, the parabens, and the phthalates, you're basically taking the performance away. So you have to put in something that does the performance instead, that's natural. So it takes a really long time to figure out how to do the formulations right. A lot of clean hair care products are just really underwhelming. And James had this vision of making really high performing, luxurious, really hydrating hair care products, but without all the bad stuff. So he was working on them, and he got to a point where he felt like he had them kind of done. And he was working with my husband, actually, and he asked my husband for some advice on kind of where to take it. And Bill said, I don't know anything about beauty. You should really talk to Lynn. I had never met James before. And James and his husband came over to our apartment. See, it all goes back to dogs, because now I'm going to bring my dog into the story.
It goes back to dogs for the dog people.
It really does. Because my dogs, I had 2 at the time, and one has passed away last summer, which was awful, but I still have the little monster. But anyway, my dogs immediately loved James and Masa. And I was like, okay, they're good, because if my dogs love you, like, that says a lot, because my dogs are pretty picky. My dogs are not, they're pretty discriminating. So it was a good start. And then they filled me in on all the stuff they've been doing. And I really loved it, and loved the story, and the passion, and the vision, and the dedication was impressive. Because if you work in advertising, you tend to have sort of a little bit of an ADD quality, because you're always doing something new. And you like that, it's like that appeals to my personality. And in this case, James worked on this for, like I said, 10 years. And I just couldn't do that. I think after a year or two, I'd be like, is it done yet? And if it's not done yet, like, because he's also, by the way, putting his own money into it as he's going.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
It takes a certain.
Dedicated, though. He was dedicated, and he was intense into it. Yeah.
Yes.
That's his personality.
He's a very intense genius, is the way I describe him. At the time, I didn't realize the genius part. I thought it was just a little crazy. But I've learned that he actually is a genius, because he has a really strong intuition for formulations in hair. And he's not a chemist, and he's not a hairstylist, but he knows what he's talking about. And it's just, how you meet people and they're just really good at something, like they just have this gut feeling and they just know what they're doing and you trust them. That's how it is with James and hair. And so we clicked, my dogs liked him, and we decided to go into business together and launch the brand. So from there, it took us about 18 months to actually develop the brand name, trademark the brand name, develop the packaging, the package design, get our website up and running, get our go-to-market strategy figured out. Like, that stuff takes a little bit, get our brand positioning solidified. And then we launched in February of 2020, New York Fashion Week.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And how did that go?
Well, it was interesting because we did 2 shows where we were doing the hair for the shows, and it was our launch. And if you've ever been to an event in New York Fashion Week, I don't know, but like, typically there are a lot of people crammed into a very small room because they're oversold. And in this case, one of the events was severely oversold. And so people were literally packed on these little fold out chairs, but like just jammed together. And the weird thing to me was
February 2020. So at this point, nobody's going, oh my God, get 6 feet away from me. That was still a month out.
But that came so quickly after. That was
March.
Like
right after that. I remember that was right after New York Fashion Week, because I read a lot of news reports about that. Yeah.
It was bizarre, because here we were not thinking anything about that. Totally, like I said, like a petri dish of people in a little room in New York City. And then just a few weeks later, it was like, oh, everything's on lockdown. I'm driving to Indiana University to pick up my son from school. Like it was a whole thing. And the hard part for us was that a lot of the salons that we started talking to and we're going to partner with had to shut down, and were shut down most of the year. They were open intermittently, and certain states like California would open and close and open and close. And it just was really challenging for them. So we just decided, okay, we are a DTC business at heart. We built our business on an e-com platform. We're going to focus on that. We're going to just try to grow our customer base, get as many people to know about us and use us. And that's what we did. It's hard because as a startup, and you know this, when you don't have an investor giving you money to do marketing, you got to be super scrappy.
Yes,
so
very.
I have loads of super scrappy marketing tips, but that is basically the playbook. Was like, how can we, do what we need to do, get new customers without spending really any marketing money. So that's what we did for the past year and a half. Now, the great news is people love our products. I said we have a lot of men, which we do. I don't even know how the men find us because they're, I don't target them. But they seem to find us, and we have really high customer loyalty, high repeat. So people really love, they'll fall in love with one of our products, they'll come back, and that'll be their go-to product. And that just makes me so happy, because I think that's the best metric of business, is the repeat purchase, because anyone can buy customers if you spend enough, if you think about it. You know what I mean? You can create clickbait and, get somebody to buy your product once, but can you get them to come back, and do they love it enough to justify that purchase over and over again?
Right. No matter what your industry is, even for myself, I've never just like, well, the contract's coming up, so that'll be it. And then we'll talk about what's next. It's like, what do you want to renew? Do we want to move forward? You got to start talking about that ahead, because a lot of people won't even know they can come back unless you ask them. So you're, putting something out there, they're loving it. They're going to keep coming back because you gave them the quality, gave them the value and the reason to come back. So that's good. That's a very good metric to go by. It's really the only metric that we want to know, right? Because
I kind of think so. One. I feel like in the DTC world, people get really caught up in a lot of KPIs around, CAC, there's all the acronyms of, your ROAS and your CAC and your this and your that. But at the end of the day, like, I don't really care so much about those, because I want to know if people are coming back and are they loyal. If it costs me $100 initially to acquire a customer, so be it. You know what I mean? Yes, would I like to do it for $5? Of course. And I'm always looking to improve that. But there are some like reality checks around what you can and can't do when you're sort of in a bootstrap position anyway. So I think you just have to be pragmatic about it and look to acquire customers in other ways. And ideally, some of those other ways you're acquiring customers cost nothing, so it balances out. You know what I mean?
Yes. And if you're getting a repeat loyal customer and you're paying $100 for that customer, you can stretch that out over how many orders are they going to do in a year.
Exactly.
You can't look at that return on investment going backwards, going, well, did we do that right? Or should we do something different? So you have to go back farther than just the last week's campaign. That's a big one. And we're dropping a lot of lingo here. So I'm going to ask you to tell our listeners what DTC and KPI stand for. I know.
Sorry. Yes, of course. Okay.
We all do that.
Yeah. DTC. I know it's like and I hate doing that because it's so annoying, but DTC is direct to consumer, and it's basically a category that's emerged over the last decade. And there are a lot of direct to consumer brands that have become very well known and like Hims or Casper, or there's a bunch. I think anyone who lives in New York City can recognize a DTC brand because they do a lot of subway takeovers, or they used to. It was always like the DTC brands own the subway. For some reason. I think it used to be probably a pretty good tactic to get your, brand in front of a lot of eyeballs. I think these days people are not riding the subway quite as much. So not sure I'd want to be doing that.
Yeah, that was a pre-March 2020 campaign idea, I think, at this point. Yeah. Like the trains here in Connecticut, the commuter
and
trains.
Then KPI you asked about. KPI is a key performance indicator, which is basically, you want to be looking at your your metrics and define which ones matter to you. And there are literally like 100 metrics. I mean, you could be looking at how much time did somebody spend on this page on your site, or, you know, how click-throughs on various bits and pieces of content you're putting out. And I mean, there's just so many different things. So my feeling is you could literally lose yourself in stuff that ultimately isn't going to move your business forward. So you just gotta think about the couple of metrics that really matter and how you want to focus on those. And like I said, for me, it's really getting people to come back because, oh my God, my life is so much easier. Think about it. And anyone is, right? If you don't have to go and get a new customer and you just know that your current customers are love you, like amazing. So that's a lot of advice I try to give to startups is don't get so enamored by some of those metrics that you hear about or that you think you should be following.
If you're going, well, I should be following this, then you're probably either not doing KPIs at all, or you're not following the right ones because you're doing what you think you're supposed to do. You know, all you have to think about with KPI, and you had to think about what that meant for a second, because you and I, people in our industry, we just dropped that stuff. And then we're like, what did that stand for? We've been saying that for 10 years now. So they're key milestones. A lot of people know them as key milestones. You're like, what milestone, what goal are you trying to reach? That's the one you want to pay attention to. Just translate milestone to the number on your report, figure out which one that is, and follow that. That's the really simplified way to think about it. And I think all of us get overwhelmed with all the marketing information you can get. So, which I'm, hopefully cutting through and giving some good information with this podcast and when we talk to our clients, because so much is thrown at you. Like you were just saying, there's so many numbers you could get bogged down in. So you got to launch during COVID. Congratulations. You're now one of those poor founders. You and James, you mentioned his husband, and there's a connection to the name, correct?
Yes. So James is married to a Japanese man named Masahiro. And Masa is a really important part of our story for a couple of reasons. The first being he was the one who introduced James to our key ingredient, makabu. It comes from the Bay of Atsuchi, which is where Masa grew up. And I was fortunate enough, and this is where I don't take my job for granted or my life for granted. It doesn't suck to have a brand where we get our main ingredient from Japan and have to go visit. I'll just say that.
Oh no. Oh,
that does not suck. So we went and we actually visited Masa's family. They're lovely. They all look like they're 12. I mean, they're so healthy there, and there's hair and their skin and there's no wrinkles. It's just, it's incredible. And they, Japanese have the longest life expectancy in the world. There's that. Mm-hmm. But we met with his family, who is lovely. But the more important piece is that Masa had brought James back to Japan several times over the course of them dating, and introduced him to our key ingredient, which is a Japanese ocean botanical called makabu. And makabu is something that grows right in the bay there. It's part of the wakame seaweed, but it's sort of at the bottom. And it basically acts like a sponge for your hair, and it brings hydration to your hair, but in a lightweight way. So it's not like you're adding oils or things that are going to weigh your hair down. Mm-hmm. So that was the sort of key unlock for James, is that once he got that ingredient, then he was able to dabble and figure out other ingredients and work with our chemists and do all that to make it work. So that's cool. And then the other reason Masa is so key to our business is our name is inspired by him, because he really is our muse. So when we were coming up with our brand, it was like, well, who better than Masa? And then Masami, it turns out, means truly beautiful in Japanese. Like,
oh, that's lovely.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Like when I heard that, I got like goosebumps. It was one of those moments where it was like, oh my God, that can't be true. It is. So that's the story of the name and Masa, and why it's pronounced Masami and not Masami, because it's named after Masa.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
I really like that story, because everything's coming together. I believe personally, I believe that it's not that everything has a reason, as we can find a reason in everything, but sometimes the universe just gives you those goosebump nudges. Absolutely. And, go with it. I mean, something is going right. Your intuition is telling you what to do. So, tell us a little bit about the brand itself. Like, what's different about it? How do you stand out from other clean beauty and other hair care products?
Yeah, I mean, now I think people expect products that are launching to be clean. So we
Mhm.
follow EU standards, which are much stricter than the US, but I think any products launching, if they have bad stuff in them, people are going to just feel like it's kind of irrelevant. So that's not a differentiator. I would say for us, it's the high performance and it's the weightless hydration with our key ingredient. And the good and bad of our ingredient is that nobody here in the US or in the Western world has heard of it. They know seaweed and they know seaweed's kind of good for you, but nobody's heard of macabu. But in Japan, it's like kale. It's like something, that's just part of your everyday, right? Everyday diet kind of thing. And so it's interesting because to them, they're like, it's what's so special about it? It's just something we eat and use and put in our, products all the time. But it really is this insanely nutrient dense ingredient that is our differentiation and gives us the weightless hydration and allows our products to be as high performing as they are.
One of the things I love about your website is that when you go on the product and you click through the pictures, it actually shows you pictures of the macabu and then the other ingredients that you're using. So like there's a picture of blueberries. It's not, hey, we have fruit. It's like, here's some blueberries. That's what we put in it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm going to this and I'm seeing all these beautiful, shampoos, but it's not showing me suds. It's not showing me, it's obviously you've got lots of pictures of beautiful hair, but you're showing me what you put in it and everything is right there. And that's very important. And cruelty-free, vegan, safe for color treated hair, which, me, that's definitely what I'm looking for. So I've got about 4 colors in my hair right now. We want to keep it that way. So we have all these beautiful products. You have a beautiful website, by the way. And then I'm going to say this right. Masami. No, hold on.
Masami.
Masami. I keep second guessing myself. We'll take that out. That's a joke because he never takes it out when I say that. So yes, Masami. So Masami Institute. This is The Ocean Drives Our Purpose. Tell us about that. Tell us about your initiative there.
Yeah, so we decided when we launched that we want to be a brand that doesn't just talk about sustainability, but actually gives back. So we founded the Masami Institute, which gives back a portion of our proceeds to ocean research and education in Northeast Japan, because that's where we get our ingredient. So the philosophy is, look, if you take from the earth, you should give back. It's really not very complicated.
No.
And so that's what we do. We also launched large size sustainable refillable bottles because, again, like being in plastic doesn't feel so ocean friendly. So that's we're working towards a plastic free line and hopefully we'll get there. And then we're part of like the Impact Collective, which is a group of brands that can offset their carbon and in our case, we do carbon and plastic footprint. So we offset that, but you can also offset your water or your energy. And we just joined another cool sustainable group called Green Business Bureau, where they help you walk through initiatives to make your business more sustainable. And not just like your products, but like things like, are you using a low flow water tap? You know what I mean? Like they look at everything, which I think is pretty cool because I think we don't realize how much stuff impacts.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're trying, it's hard because there's no like easy solution to figure everything out. But I feel like as long as companies and brands are making steps to do the right thing, and improving all the time, that's pretty much what you can ask,
Yes, and I think it's good that you're not just greenwashing and saying, well, it's greenwashing meaning you're making it look like you're sustainable, making it look like you care. And it's on your branding and you put a little leaf. You're actually walking the walk and talking the talk by going back to the oceans where you're getting the source of your product, your key ingredient. So you're investing not only in the earth and the people of that area, you're investing in the fact that I want to keep using a natural ingredient. And if the environment is going, that's not going to help anybody. So
Yeah.
that's a wonderful thing to be involved in. I'm very involved in conservation and open space. So I really like that. So what else, what else you've been doing for marketing now that we're sort of pulling out of the pandemic and you can get back into salons? Like what did you do? Did you pivot back? Did you find direct to consumer was working really well? How are you approaching that now?
Well, I think salons are so important because they give us credibility and people get to actually have the product used in their hair. They get to smell it. They get the stylist explaining, oh, hey, the shampoo is low foaming. You don't have to use a lot. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes, yes.
so salons are really important. So we're in Spoke and Wheel salons across the US. There are 8. We're also in Dream Dry, which there are 4. And then we're in a bunch of independent salons, and we're really working to try to expand that because I think that's important. But at the same time, we can't forget about our DTC business. So you got to still, do all those things. So a lot of the stuff we do is content creation because, as you know, like it's good for search, your SEO, your search engine optimization.
Yes.
And the content also allows you to disseminate your story across all your different social channels. And so we do a lot of content, and by content, I mean blogs, podcasts, articles, guest posts, webinars, videos, all sorts of things. And we also do a lot of partnerships with other brands. And that's a tactic that anyone listening and looking for some low budget ideas, you could do this in any industry. It doesn't have to be CPG, but find like-minded brands that are complementary to you and do something together. It can be a giveaway. It can be an Instagram live. It can be interviewing each other. It can be creating a unique offer that you can share with each other's audiences. It can be emailing each other's audiences, whatever. But there's so many things you can do with good partners that don't cost anything. And a great way to reach a new audience,
That's a great tip, because when you do a live with someone, that I know everyone's cringing going, I don't want to do a live, but we have to do lives, people. It's just the way of the world right now with marketing yourself. There's ways to do it that can be more comfortable. You could record, but the more you do video, the more people get to know you and relate to you. And I think it's a great idea to speak to someone else in your industry and let them see who's behind your brand and how you're collaborating. I think we need more of that. So that's a great idea. And you guys have gotten a lot of press too. I mean, Glamour and Entrepreneur. So, very important magazine for hair. So I love that. You're entrepreneur, you're in a lot of things here. And there's a whole list on her press, so I'm not going to bore you guys with it, but they've gotten out there, and I'm sure your advertising agency background helped with that. And but you have such a wonderful story to put out there, that I think it's wonderful that you're getting out there and people are seeing what you're doing for the ocean, for hair, and for yourself with the marketing. As a small business, what's going to be next for you, do you think?
Well, for Masami, we have another product that we're working on in the pipeline. So we're going to probably launch that early next year. I also have another business, believe it or not, because I'm crazy and I can't just.
Yeah, I think. You're an entrepreneur. How many businesses do you have in growth mode? Yeah.
So my other business is called Il de Nature, and it's a luxury home, bee-powered home fragrance company with a beeswax candle is our signature product. So that business is interesting right now. We're planning a trip to Dominica, which is where our scent is inspired by. We have hives there, and we get our beeswax from there. So we're actually going to be going down there in October. And then I'm planning a trip to Japan in January. There's a big beauty event. And so this is what I'm saying, like it really, a word to people out there. If you're thinking about starting a business, attach it to a really great destination.
I know. I was like, I feel like this is the best marketing tip so far. Be a digital nomad CEO and make sure that, you're sourcing out of, I think I'll have to start doing my podcast from Japan and
Oh yeah.
maybe Costa
Maybe
Rica,
Venice,
maybe.
Italy or something,
I haven't been to
from
Machu Picchu
now.
yet. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. You could
I'll-
do 7 wonders of the world and just pop around and film yourself. That'd be awesome.
That's right. Except I'm not doing Machu Picchu live because I have to go. I have to go to that little teeny tiny ridge. That's the one thing that's that and money and time have held me back from getting there because I want to actually go up it like 5 foot. And there's a really tiny, tiny ridge overlooking a very, very, very deep gully. And I'm a little worried about that. But many people have done it. I can do it too, right? So I'll do a live. I'll have some conditioner in my hair, and once I get through it, I'll rinse the maybe not. Maybe that's not the collab you're looking for, Lynn. All right. So
I like it.
I'm just teasing her. It takes a while to get used to my sense of humor. It's okay, Lynn. We'll let that go.
I appreciate your sense of humor.
So we are going to talk about where we can find you. Tell us how to find your items online. And I know you're in salons, and tell us how to get a hold of you and where to follow you.
Yeah, we're easy to find. You can find us at lovemasami.com. So LOVEMASAMI.com. Our social handle everywhere. And when I say everywhere, I mean like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, TikTok, YouTube is Love Masami Hair. And we even have a special code for listeners, for Liza listeners only. And it's Liza, and you get 25% off, which is a huge discount for us. We usually only will do a 10% or maybe a 20%. So if you're intrigued and you want to try it, check it out. Use the discount code LIZA, not S, LIZA.
That's right, LIZA. People, this promo is really just to make you know how to spell my name. That's
exactly. So that's it.
That's very generous. What a great promo. Yeah.
Yeah. So I hope people enjoy it. And I love feedback. So you can always find me on LinkedIn, DM me on Instagram, email me at lynn@lovemasami.com. Yeah, it's all good.
But just remember, she might be in another time zone. It might take a little while for her to get it because she's going to be traveling. Well, this is exciting stuff. And I've really enjoyed getting to talk to you and get to know you on this. And I can't wait to try some of this myself. So we will be putting all the information up online as always with that promo. So if you've forgotten it or can't remember how to spell my name, you have to remember it to get to the website. No, I'm just kidding. just Google the podcast. You'll find us. So thank you so much, Lynn, for being here with me today. This has been so much fun. I love the story. As I told Lynn, I have a family connection to Japan, so I'm very jealous. I want to go there too. So now I have 2 places to go. Just check out where they get their product and all that. So I hope we'll have you back on again. I hope we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
And you have a great day. And anything you want to leave us with?
Okay. My parting thought to anyone listening is if you have an idea and you're sort of itching to do it, but you're not sure where to start somewhere. Just start, because you're not getting any younger. I'm an older founder. I started my business at 52 and the time is now. That's my parting thought.
I love that. That's wonderful. Thank you. All right. So we will see you next time, everybody, and go check out Masami, because lovemasami.com is awesome.
Thank you.
Wow, another fantastic conversation done. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Don't forget that all the links mentioned will be in the show notes at lizasivekmarketing.com. And while you're there, if you're a business owner whose marketing is on life support, check out the Your Virtual Marketing Department offer and take the Marketing Health Report quiz for free. For less than the cost of a full-time hire, we can take your marketing from frustrating to lead generating with an entire marketing team. So check that out, and I'll see you next time.
You've been listening to Marketing Myths and Magic, part of the Exvadio Podcast Network. You can find us at exvadio.com/podcasts, as well as the Apple Podcasts app, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and wherever you find podcasts.